Oh yeah, we're out here. All right, let me just link the show to the places where I link the show. That's LRH, Teens for Christ, MDE, not math, and we'll also do general on the IRC retirement home. Let's do Sally. I love Sally. What a dope fucking channel. Let's see where you at, Sally. And then let's let LRH know. Let's let the Joe Rogan experience know. Let's let the Real Politics Discord know. And then let's I'm not gonna let the journalist server know. I don't need those trolls up in my situation here. Well, yes, hello. How are you? Good morning. Let's see. Already got some chats coming in here. Jiro, we out here. Jiro asks, is it better for me to watch on Twitch or YouTube or what? I already have all the subscribers that I need for both. So really you can watch on whatever is more comfortable for you. I think Twitch updates a little bit faster, but we could also put the YouTube one in the real-time mode. But really you can do whatever you feel like. You can watch this shit on Periscope if you feel like it. Anyway is fine. All right, what do we got here? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Well, I think it's time. Let's find out what the future holds here. I'm very interested in what we can learn from the cards about today. Ooh, starting off with the big moon right here. And we've got that old 7 of clubs. And then the devil. The cards are not fucking around today. So, we have the Secret Passage card. We have the Dreams card. And then we have the Devil. So this is a fraught day today. You better watch yourself very carefully here. So I'm going to interpret this as a shortcut to your dreams can get you locked up in a web of your compulsions and your desires. Yeah, it's a very simple reading to my eyes. So the moon is about secrets, about the clandestine, about the sort of animal part inside of us. The 7 of cups is one of the better 7s that you can get, and it's about dreams for the most part. It's a fairly clear-cut card, but many things can be interpreted within this. The devil usually refers to a prison of our own making. People who have let themselves get into a cycle that they can't break out of, and how destructive that is over time. It's less about a physical, being named Lucifer, and more us being a prisoner of our desires. Do I like it when I get hearts on Periscope? I can hit that heart button all day long. I don't see the hearts on Periscope, sadly. Yeah, we have gotten, now Periscope people can chat in the Restream chat, which is new. Restream just added that. But I don't get to see it. Yeah, sorry to miss a day yesterday. But I was doing some real nigga shit the night before, and didn't get home until real late, and then I just didn't have it. So this is not like Gravid, where we can never stop ever. I think, and it's possible during these streams, I may, when I work out the workflow, if we're going to be working from home for an eternity, I may start taking like 1 day a week off or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't like the feeling of not doing the editing yesterday. I feel vaguely dissatisfied by it. So I just like to do it every day if I can. Fuck the police. But yeah, I definitely needed to blow off some steam yesterday, and editing was not the way that we went about it right there. So thank you to everybody who has joined up. What say we begin? So thus far in the story, I think that everybody that's here has pretty much seen the whole thing. But essentially, this is SPACETARDS. It's about a platoon of developmentally disabled space marines who are exploring a ravaged alien hulk that they call a whale. And shit has just gotten real here because they've gotten trapped inside of the whale. The way that they came back has frozen over, and new stream Otis. All right, I see. LOL. Okay, and so the last chapter, they got cut off by this tunnel full of writhing tube serpents, and now they've flipped a coin and decided to go right. Chapter 10, SPACETARDS by Zach Z. Wisey. Let's see. The sledgehammer burst through the disc and the chem lamp shone in, reflecting from the smooth walls of a long domed corridor. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like this intro. The sledgehammer burst through the disc, and their chem lamps shone in. Mm-hmm. So let's try that. The sledgehammer burst through the disc, and their chem lamps shone in, reflecting off the curved walls of a long domed corridor. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We always call them chem lamps. Yeah. We just call them. They're just like basically like a little beam unit on their shoulder, where some kind of chemical process is continuously throwing out light. I don't think the Marines ever turn them off. And just as a POV type thing, it's almost always dark within these whales. And most of what the Marines see is illuminated by these shoulder lamps. There's also one guy that carries around a big, what they call the big beamer, which is like a much larger chem lamp, like a spotlight. And that's their lampsman. And I think we'll get to his name in a little bit. It's a very apropos name. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, oh, this is difficult. I guess my brain's like a little bit scrambled from yesterday, but we shall persevere. Okay, so let's think about it. The sledgehammer bursts through the disc and. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Layout. There we go. It was a quiet day today there. Um, yeah, we're just trying to get this description as perfect as we possibly can here, because this needs to set the because basically the room that they're coming up on is like a big cylindrical tube, and the maybe describing it to you guys will help me work out how to get this description right. It's like they're in a giant can, and then they're in an air pocket at the very top of the can, where like the fluid doesn't completely fill it there, and it's about 300 meters in diameter. So that's the description that we're trying to get to. They don't know yet that it's like 300 meters in diameter, but Gunny is doing like a little tard math to try and figure it out. Linting back at the platoon. I hate the description funhouse mirror, right? Because we're now at the place where I think the vast majority of readers will have never been in a carnival funhouse. And it's a piece of description. It's so difficult to describe convex mirrors or concave mirrors because they're not something that people run into on an everyday basis. Most people would have experience with like a beauty mirror, for instance, but they wouldn't have the like funhouse, crazy, wild, distorted experience. Most of, I think, like your average reader today, the most experience that they would have is in like 3D animations where like just reflective objects have been distorted and on fucking acid trips where they're staring into the mirror. So yeah, you can't really use any, like if it was the 50s, I could be like funhouse mirror and everybody is like, oh yeah, I've been to a funhouse. I got my dick sucked in one of those. But funhouses are no more. So we can't use that description. The beams were reflecting off of. Dome ceiling on a long corridor, domes with circular areas, not rectangular ones. Okay, so yeah, this is like they're in. Yeah, I think arched is a little bit better. Okay, so the ceiling was a seamless mirror. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The seamless walls of the tube were mirror reflective. And beneath was a vast lake of opaque black fluid. I love that like first paragraph of the day, and it's like our descriptions are so. Maybe I just need to spend more time working on descriptions when I'm writing. But honestly, like this level of slowdown that we're facing right here, where we're just kind of like plodding away, trying to find the right way to do it, would be so destructive to trying to get into a writing state. Really, it's better when you're writing to just kind of dash these things out and to do the hard, heavy lifting. It's inside tube, maybe the bottom of this tube. Yeah, yeah. So, like you can see, when it's like a fucking soda can full of Coke. Yeah, we could actually call it the soda can. Well, they still have cans of soda in fucking space. Let's figure this guy out here. Only environments with artificial gravity can you do a soda can. Um, let's work on this first paragraph here. The sledgehammer burst through the disc. The sledgehammer burst through the disc, and the Marines peered into the hole. There was something shiny on the other side. I really like the way that tracks, where we break it down to this very simplistic style of description that's more befitting to the TARDs. Uh, burst through the disc. Uh, oh, we haven't even talked about what the air is like on the other side there. So we're Heads. And that fucking noise right there. Yeah, I do like, if we're gonna think of it as a soda can, I want to have with. Okay, so Adjective Down has a very interesting suggestion here to start with the walkway, which I think is like a really good idea. One, because it's a line going straight from the disc. So obviously, that's the first place that their eyes will go, not necessarily to like the ceilings or the walkway below. I think it's a really good way to get that description started. And obviously, this is like a paragraph that we're struggling with a little bit. So great suggestion. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so the sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop. Uh oh. Uh oh. I wonder what's bothering Pages at this point here. It has been a long time since we've rebooted this machine. Okay, and just save after that happened there. It had to really think about what was going on there. So the sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop. The atmosphere of the new chamber made a fizzling sound as it mingled. Shout outs to Command S. Yeah, we're fucking out here. 2 Marines were bracing Heath so he wouldn't be blasted across the room if the new chamber was highly pressurized, but the differential was slight. I like that. Yeah, this is all super necessary description. I like it. Okay, and we almost have to completely rewrite this passage of description. Let's try this suggestion. Mm-hmm. The sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop. Gunny was prepared for more fog, but nothing unusual happened. 2 Marines were bracing Heath so he wouldn't be blasted across the room if the new chamber was heavily pressurized, but the differential was slight. If they breathed at all. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. So this is like a very simple description, but it works pretty well. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. There was a long straight walkway beneath an arch of seamless silver mirror. Beneath was a rippling lake of opaque black fluid. Oh yeah, two beneath. Absolutely right. There was a long straight walkway. Mm-hmm. By what exactly is holding it? Uh, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Long straight walkway does need the comma. Mm. Yeah, remind me at the end of this. I'm gonna go. Um, at the end of this, I'm gonna just go through like a few of the books that I have on writing, and I want to look at some specific advice for writing descriptions of places. Because I have to tell you, I feel like it's really an area where we could significantly improve. Oh, by the way, also shout outs to this shirt right here, the TWA Hotel. And somebody took me over there not too long ago. I was really happy to go there. Let me see here. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. A long, straight walkway of triangular grid was suspended by wires from an arched ceiling of seamless silver mirror. Let's see. Mm-hmm. So let's try this again. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. A long, straight walkway of triangular grid was suspended by wires from an arched ceiling of seamless silver mirror. The beam of Gunny's chem lamp petered out before the end of the walkway. It was more than 100 meters long. Beneath the walkway was a rippling lake of opaque black fluid. Eyeing the slope of the arch, Gunny began to visualize a huge cylinder, mostly filled with the fluid. If this was a tube, cool. Okay, so that actually changes up the description quite a bit there, and I think it's like a much more solid description, which we spent we spent like an hour just on these two paragraphs right there. But the thing is, like, we're like, this is spaceship exploration porn, and if the reader isn't getting a really good visualization of what that spaceship is like, just throw this fucking story into the garbage. You know what I mean? So I'm perfectly willing to spend an hour just working on each of these chapters. There are only 13 chapters. Like, we can spend the time to make a better story. So let's go back and see what we've accomplished so far. So the sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop, and the atmosphere from the new chamber. Uh, yeah, their chem lights throw exactly 100 meters. Mm-hmm. 300 meters is huge. Yeah, this is a giant corridor, and like this is going to be where the bulk of the action for the rest of the story takes place. So we got to get this one right. Um, the sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop. The sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop. An atmosphere from the new chamber fizzled. An air from the new chamber fizzled as it met and mingled with the teardrop's atmosphere. Gunny was worried it would turn into fog, but nothing unusual happened. Two Marines were bracing Heath so he wouldn't be blasted across the room if the new chamber was heavily pressurized, but the differential was slight. Okay, really, really like those changes there. So the sledgehammer burst through the disc with a loud pop, and air from the new chamber fizzled as it mingled with the teardrop's atmosphere. Gunny was worried it would turn into fog. Gunny was worried it would turn into fog like the Silane, but nothing unusual happened. He'd ordered 2 Marines to brace Heath so there wouldn't be a repeat of Yank getting blasted across the room, but there'd been no need. The differential was slight. Whatever was on the other side most likely breathed the same stuff as the teardrop, if they breathed at all. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. Along. His eyes followed a long, straight walkway that was suspended by wires from the ceiling of the corridor. From the corridor's ceiling. I don't like the... Suspended by wires from above. Looking up, Gunny saw the ceiling was a seamless arch of silvery mirror. Below it, he... Oh, I like that, yeah. Looking up, Gunny saw the ceiling was a seamless arch of silvery mirror. He could see the distorted reflection of the walkway and the rippling motion of the lake that was under it. Beneath the walkway was a vast sea of opaque black fluid, kept in continuous motion by some unseen force. So we're trying to say vast sea there, so that you get the idea that this is a 300-meter cylinder just chock full of fluid to address the really huge thing there. Eyeing the slope of the arch, Gunny began to visualize a huge cylinder, mostly filled with fluid. If this was a tube, it was almost 300 meters in diameter. The platoon... Hell yeah. So much happier. Well, it was just like a really weak intro to this, and I feel like now it's a very strong intro. Still sounds like they're able to see the entire curve of the tube as well as the surface of the lake. So what they're let's sort of let's see. Quick draw. Let's draw. Okay, cool. Okay, so what we're here.
I see line, or toothbrush, or flying saucer, or beach. I see umbrella, or helmet, or basket, or watermelon. I see bucket, or frying pan.
Okay.
I see blueberry, or wristwatch, or sink, or mouth. I see compass.
We gotta turn this shit down. Okay, cool. Well, this is really fucking disconcerting right there. So you can see for a hot second where they're just at the very top. See where, hold on, let me fucking, this is not helpful, but they're in like this very top of the pipe there. So what that, I just like randomly search for a, let's look for online sketchpad. There we go. Sketch.io. Jesus, don't, fuck off. You know, all this bullshit. Okay, so cool. So here, they're in this giant fucking cylinder, right? And here is like the walkway that they're on, right? Really annoying that it's using this fucking calligraphy. This is fucking stupid. All right. Let's try this over. Oh, yeah. So we're, I think it's fair that it's not coming through, because that's actually quite difficult to describe. I hate this fucking sketch thing. Anyhow. Oh, check it out. That'll come in handy later. But what do we got here? His eyes followed a long, straight walkway that was suspended by wires from above. Looking up, Gunny saw the ceiling was a seamless arch of silvery mirror. He could see the distorted reflection of the walkway. So they're on the top of the tube. Yeah, fuck, man. So difficult. Let's see. So we're good there. I like that. His eyes followed a long, straight walkway that was suspended by wires from the ceiling. Yeah. Which was a wide arch of seamless silvery mirror. The new chamber was enormous, bigger than the one they'd landed their rats in. His eyes followed a long, straight walkway that stretched over a black. Yeah, well, we're gonna fix that in this description here, Stratum. Gunny took a gander through the hole. The new chamber was enormous, bigger than the one they'd landed their rats in. His eyes followed a long, straight walkway that stretched over a vast lake of rippling black fluid. So the chamber can still appear huge if they're in that top 10% of it, just because he can't see the end of the chamber with his lamp. Right? He knows it's at least 100 meters to the other spot. That's a big deal. Uh, mhm. Gunny's eyes followed a long, straight walkway that disappeared into the darkness. His chem lamp had a 100-meter throw, but it couldn't reach the end. So what's the word? What I want here when we describe the fluid, we want it to be almost completely non-reflective. Um, I know there's like some 3D term for it, like if you, it's not like specular. Yeah, like I just want it to be not shiny. Mm-hmm. Gunny's eyes followed a long, straight walkway that disappeared into the darkness, too distant for his chem lamp's 100-meter throw. Beneath the walkway was a vast lake of opaque black fluid that was strangely dull. The fluid was strangely dull. It absorbed the chem lamp's light and scarcely reflected any of it. Uh, hmm. Yeah, we're diffuse fluid. Yeah, what we need is a little vocabulary. We had to look up what fricassee meant. So Spectacular. Mastering 3D, important 3D texturing technology. Okay, this is stuff we're going to need. Texture mapping, shaders, UV mapping, specularity. That's what we want. Cool. Flat texture like cement. Specularity is exactly the word that we were looking for there. Bump maps. Transparency maps. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Illusion of detail. Normal maps like baked into texture. Okay, cool. So specularity. So we're talking about saying how high the walkway is and that giving a better idea. That's a good idea. So let's see how... Let's see. Okay. Gunny's eyes followed a long straight walkway that disappeared into the darkness, too distant for his Chemlab's 100-meter throw. 3 meters beneath the walkway was a vast lake of opaque black fluid, rippling in continuous motion from some unseen force. The dark fluid had an unusually low specularity. It absorbed the chem lamp's light with almost no reflection. So let's try this right here. All right, so new paragraph. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. The new chamber was very large, bigger than the exposed corridor they'd landed the rats in. We don't need exposed. Okay, the new chamber was very large, bigger than the first corridor where they'd landed the rats. Gunny's eyes followed a long, straight walkway that disappeared into the darkness, too distant for his chemlamp's 100-meter throw. 3 meters beneath the walkway was a vast lake of opaque black fluid, rippling in continuous motion from some unseen force. The dark fluid had an unusually low specularity. It absorbed the chemlamp's light with almost no reflection. The walkway was suspended on wires from an arched ceiling of seamless silvery mirror. The arch continued until the surface of the black lake met it. Gunny could see a line of dark tarnish where the fluid had lapped against the material. Could be improved. Mm-hmm. Eyeballing the slope of the ceiling, Gunny tried to visualize how large it would be if it was one continuous circle. I do want to get the... Mm-hmm. Gunny's eyes traced the gleaming arc of the ceiling until it met with the surface of the lake. The fluid left a dark... The fluid left a line of black tarnish. We don't need black. Line of tarnish where it lapped against the mirror. God, look at all these attempts. Mm. So here would be a good place for him to. I think we do it a little bit later in there, where he emotes a little bit on the realization that there's like this gigantic volume of weird black fluid under them. They're like literally in an ocean of this shit. Although 300 meters is hardly an ocean. It's like a lake. But all right, let's see how that tracks. After Sticky did his checks, Gunny took a gander through the hole. The new chamber was very large, bigger than the first corridor where they'd landed the rats. Gunny's eyes followed a long, straight walkway that disappeared into darkness, too distant for his chemlamp's 100-meter throw. 3 meters beneath the walkway was a vast lake of opaque black fluid, rippling in continuous motion from some unseen force. The dark fluid had an unusually low specularity. It absorbed the chemlamp's light with almost no reflection. The walkway Gunny looked up. The walkway was suspended on wires from an arched ceiling of seamless silvery mirror. Mm-hmm. So Jira says the dark fluid had an unusually low specularity. It absorbed the chem lamp's light with almost no reflection. So there is a reason why that's a comma and not the word and right there. And is like we're saying additionally. But really what we're doing there with that comma is we're saying the dark fluid had an unusually low specularity. And then the next section is sort of saying what that means for people who don't know what the word specularity is. And this is a spot where maybe we're doing this wrong, right? Maybe it's bad. So, like, I didn't know the word specularity before we got into this, even though I should have. I've like fucked out around with 3D applications before. What we're doing there, where we have a definition within the context of this, is so that we can use specularity later in the story, and we can assume that the reader will know what it's all about. I think specularity is arcane enough that most people won't know what we're saying right along the way. But specularity is also like exactly the word that we want there. So that's what we're. Yeah, I don't think it's quite. You can make a strong argument for a semicolon there, but I think a comma is enough. I'm not sure, but but yeah. So I see exactly where you're coming from with the need for an and there, but I think it's not appropriate here, and I think we're not in semicolon country yet, but um, we'll have to look. All right, so Gunny looked up. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not a good description right there. Uh, the ceiling was. In marked contrast to the dull lake below, the ceiling was a shiny, seamless mirror of silvery metal. Mm. Ugh. Really struggling with page 75. This is just one page that we spent all morning on there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's change this up a little bit. Yeah. At 9 meter intervals, the mirror metal seemed to almost cool. I kind of like that. So, in marked contrast to the dull lake below, the ceiling was a shiny, seamless The ceiling, and this is a lot of S's here. In marked contrast to the dull lake below, the ceiling was a shiny, seamless mirror of silvery metal. At 9-meter intervals, the mirror metal melted. At 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into a chrome stalactite that suspended. And also, I think it's stalactite. That's the top one. Yeah, versus stalagmite. Yeah, so I was right. It is. God damn it! Get this one here. So yeah, you can see where the top is the stalactite and the bottom is the stalagmite. You know this if you have to write tons of fucking fantasy shit. So I'm glad that I still had to check, but I'm glad I had it right the first time. So it's funny that the reader will blow through these paragraphs in seconds and not even stalagmites might make it up there someday. I remember that rhyme from when I was like a little fucking kid. But yeah, I mean that's a lot. Like our goal is the reader like blowing through this and getting like a vivid image in their mind and never having to stop and think about it. Right? We work hard so that they do not have to work hard. That's the goal. And also like like this is partly me paying the price for not doing this right the first time around. And also we get to make like little changes to this. I didn't have that thing about how it looked like it had grown there, and that being like kind of unsettling. I like that. Gunny felt a twinge of unease. The mirror seemed like something that had been grown, not built. I like that. I like C for ceiling, G for ground. At 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into stalactites, into perfect chrome stalactites that suspended the walkway over the lake. Gunny felt a twinge of unease. The mirror seemed like something that had been grown, not built. Gunny's eyes followed. Did he follow? Can we use trace here rather than follow? He takes a gander through the hole. Yeah, so here they can trace. Gunny's eyes traced the curve of the arch to where it met the surface of the lake. Where the fluid lapped against the mirror metal, it left a line of tarnish. Eyeballing the slope, Gunny tried to visualize how big the corridor would be. Okay, so here's a maybe they should be imperfect if they were grown. That's a fair. We can just take out the. Yeah, so I think the problem with at 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into flawless, tapering drips of chrome that suspended the walkway over the lake. We can take out flawless there. And so stalagmite, stalactite is the wrong word there because I don't want to imply that this is like an organic structure. I just want him to be it to feel like a little bit otherworldly. Like how the fuck would you build that? What the fuck? You know what I mean? So that's a good note there. And I like At 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into tapering drips of chrome that suspended the walkway over the lake. Because what we were looking for, let's see. And in fact, we're gonna change up the triangular grid part of it there. Let's get sketchpad.io. Oh, fucking sketchpad. How about sketchpad.app? All right. So fuck off. My idea here. So here is like the surface of the thing, and then these guys are kind of like loop, and then they, you know what I mean? It's like almost like kind of like a uvula type walkway. And so like a cross section would be, all right, so here's our walkway here, and then it kind of blooms out right here, and at the center of it would be this fucking thing right here, and that's connected to the arch of the ceiling, kind of. Can't this Mac run MS Paint.exe? Yeah, so let's. So yeah, let's change up the walkway too. Oh, I think later on, uh, I think later on it's like that same triangular web. Yeah, let's keep the same triangular grid from before. Gleaming uvulas of chrome. Oh, I love that look. At 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into gleaming uvulas of chrome. At 9-meter intervals, the mirror material melted into gleaming uvulas of chrome. Gunny felt a twinge of unease. The mirror seemed like something that had been grown, not built. Love it. So Sirius would prefer the walkway to be genderqueer as Gunny's flamethrower. Gli- curse this delay. Gleaming vuvuzelas. I haven't. Glad that fucking meme died a coward's death. All right, hold on. Let me. He works with elevators. Team viewer. That's happening. Nobody's messaging me. Okay, cool. Wait, hold on. I think I got some messages from Chad. Hell yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I will be doing an AMA with Adam Kokesh a little bit later today. He's a guy that would like to dismantle the federal government entirely. So I think we're going to have some fascinating chats. I'm doing a little bit of research for him. We'll try to have some really good questions for this guy. I think if you're in the Real Politics Discord server, and just ask Chad in the chat for a fucking invite or me after this whole thing is over, we can invite you to the server and you can submit some questions for that. It's going to be, it should be, this guy is like, his life story is fucking fascinating. If you look him up on Wikipedia, he's got a lot going on. He's a former soldier, and I'm very interested to really get to the heart of how he believes you can run a society without a strong centralized government. Even that, like, some people would be like, but we have a federation of states. Fuck off. Yeah, like we have some delineation of power between the states and whatever, but it's still like a strong central government. Okay, cool. That's interesting. I can't believe we're still working on this page. But I love this edition, the uvulas of Chrome banging. That's just, I immediately know what we're talking about. And we were trying to get like that tapering drip, like a fucking filament of cum, but this is better. Eyeballing the slope, Gunny tried to visualize how big the corridor would be if the arch made a complete circle. If the new chamber was a cylinder, Gunny estimated it was almost 300 meters in diameter. The idea. Thinking about it gave Gunny a shriveling feeling in his guts. Anything could be down there. New room designation, Gunny barked. Get an eyeful, member. Chrome truck nuts. Huh. Yeah, I don't think that would quite get the message across the way that uh, that we would need to. Okay. Crower open. Let's go. Mm-hmm. A murmur of unease rippled through the unit. Gunny wasn't the only one puckering at the sight of that writhing lake. The torrid aversion to liquid wasn't just the showers on the Polybius. Nothing good ever came of getting wet on a whale. High lead, high acid, Sticky concluded, inspecting the sampling rod. He tossed it aside. It hit the rounded surface of the teardrop with a clang and rattled its way to the center of the depression. Gunny scowled, pointing at the rod. Chucking rods was a bad habit for a stickman. Oh yeah, they're like all. Um, th- let's just add that as they widen the hole, so that we can see that like more people are starting to look through there and be like, I don't like the looks of this shit. Fuck. So that's a good catch right there, and I think that addition improves it. Yeah. So I thought about replacing that with only, but I think just works a little bit better. Nothing good. High lead, high acid, Sticky concluded, inspecting the sampling rod. He tossed it aside. It hit the rounded surface of the. Yeah, you can't be fucking throwing rods like a old Chevelle. Chucking rods is a bad habit for a stickman. Sorry, Gunny. Uh. So's Gunny, Sticky offered, following the scowl. Gunny considered belting him one, but the moment had passed. Too acid to cross? Gunny asked. Is it too acidic? Yeah. Is it too acidic to cross? Gunny asked. Only a problem if we get stuck in there. Passing through should be okay. Still not reading what the atmos is, but it ain't making more snow. So maybe the same stuff as the last room? Might be, Gunny nodded. So maybe the same stuff as in here? Might be, Gunny nodded, though he'd already guessed that. 2 different types of airlocks. 2 different species? So there were two different teardrops pumping two. So the tear two. Okay. Is it too acidic to cross? Gunny asked. Only a problem if we get stuck in there. Passing through should be okay. Still not reading what the atmos is, but it ain't making more snow. Think it's the same stuff we got in here. So sticky. Yeah. So, yeah, Sticky is just talking too smart to be a tardigrade augmented space marine. So I'm just making that little change there to make him be more tard sprek. Think we okay? Think we okay if we pass through. Maybe problem if we get stuck out there. Still no read on the atmos. Think it's the same stuff we got in here? Might be, Gunny nodded. Might be, Gunny nodded, tapping his armored fingertips on his trunk as he pondered. If the two teardrops pumping two different... Did the two different types of gas and the two teardrops mean that different species were sharing the same whale? What were those 9 glass windows at the bottom of each drop for? What did the talons do? Gunny pushed the questions out of his mind. SmartThink wouldn't get them out of here. Keep it simple, stupid. Yak, you're on scout. Yakov the ladderman had his eyes shut tight. Gunny's words hit him like a solid whop. Yak's aversion to water ran deeper than most. Often he had to get dragged kicking and spitting to his mandatory weekly hose down. Still, he swallowed and nodded. The rotation was the rotation. Aye, aye, Gunny, Yak agreed, starting to undo the clips that held on his ladder. Hey, Gunny, how's about I swaps with Yak? Sticky offered. Bells, Stick. He's going to have to go out there anyway, Gunny said. Gunny said, shaking his head. He didn't want to coddle Yak. Everyone was tired of dragging his sweaty ass to the showers every week. Want to get another read from the tunnel center. Acid concentration might be higher out there. My suit's coated. I can get another read from this tunnel center, see if there's a heavier... yeah, this is, again, we gotta dumb this speech down a little bit. Want to get another read from the middle of the tunnel. Let me see if acid's more concentrated out there. My suit's coated. Remember, my suit's coated. Sticky's suit had an extra layer of undercoating, some kind of pearlescent dip that was supposed to be ungodly difficult to manufacture. Gunny suspected it was just paint and it didn't do anything. He'd seen plenty of stickmen get disintegrated in his time. But that wasn't the kind of info he volunteered to his Marines. Clearly, Sticky just wanted to do Yak a solid. At the back of Gunny's head, a voice was whispering that Yak was more expendable than Sticky, but he hated that voice. Yeah, swap. Double time, though. If we can't find a way back, we're going to have to go through them needles again. Glass needles again. Sticky nodded, and the relief on Yak's face was visible. Clip him in, Winchy, Gunny ordered, and for an obstinate moment, the Marine pretended he didn't, And for an obstinate moment, the linesman pretended he hadn't heard. Gunny whopped Winchester hard enough that he clacked helmets with Bonzo. The sergeant's lip, he has to be Winchy there. Gunny whopped Winchy hard enough that he clacked helmets with Bonzo. The sergeant... Yeah, there's some real Three Stooges shit happening here. Gunny whopped Winchy hard enough that he clacked helmets with Bonzo. Gunny's lip jutted in satisfaction at the unexpected BOGO. How y'all feeling about that unexpected BOGO? I love it. I'm keeping that. Oh, I love the idea that BOGO has extended through time and space to reach these Marines way out there. Chuck's sake, Winchester. No one cares about your stupid name. I ain't Winchy, the Marine protested. Winchester protested, blinking until his eyes would focus. Double time. Chucking around will get us all deaded. Clip in or I'll throw you in. Gunny pointed at the swirling black fluid. Winchy was about 2 seconds away from finding out how deep it really went. Winchester stammered an apology and rushed to clip the cable spool on his back to the... Winchester stammered an apology as he rushed to clip his cable spool to the donut-shaped ring on the back, securing... Okay, let's do that again. Winchester stammered an apology as he... Winchester stammered an apology and rushed to clip his cable spool to the donut-shaped securing ring on the back of Sticky's suit. Lefty, Heaps, and Plinko clipped into the cable, ready to brace. Gunny gave them a thumbs up for their initiative. Radiance preserve me, Sticky said, making the lowercase T sign over his chest plate. Sticky was one of Chappie's favorites. Yeah, the sentence, that is a good spot to terminate that sentence. So a little bit earlier than that, I think Aziz and his big beamer is something that gets introduced later in the story, and they really should check it out there. Okay, so I think we're gonna call him the Lampsman there, because like it's like a little in joke that he's Aziz. It's like the Aziz light from the Fifth Element right there. But I think we actually make the joke a little bit better later on, so we'll call him the Lampsman here, and then the reveal that his name is Aziz might just like be kind of funny for somebody. Let's take a look. Okay, let me know if we gave Sticky a different helmet herald at some point there. Who was the last person that we gave a helmet herald to? Because, yeah, I didn't write all these up in the story. Yeah, gave him an appreciative clap on his shoulder pauldron. They watched the back of Sticky's helmet as he climbed out on the little walkway. So aversion to water wasn't just because of the showers, implies something happens in them rather than they don't like getting clean. Let's take a look at that. So the tart aversion to liquid wasn't just the showers on the Polybius. Nothing good ever came of getting wet on the whale. I don't agree that yeah, it implies waters or liquids are bad news. There, yeah, they just they don't like fucking taking baths. Is all that we're getting at right there. Let's take a deeper. The tart aversion to liquid wasn't just the showers on the Polybius. Nothing good ever came of getting wet on a whale. I'm fine with that. I don't think we need any changes there. Yeah, any like backstory of shower rape or whatever, I think is uh, projection. Not saying, like not trying to diss our editors here, but I don't see it in that line. I like that they call his suits like undercoating, and that they think it doesn't do anything. That's like I like a lot of the little like humor notes in this. Um, Yak gave, yeah, yeah, that absolutely. Radiance preserve me, Sticky said, making the lowercase t sign over his chest plate. Yak gave Sticky an appreciative clap on his right pauldron. They watched the back of Sticky's helmet as he climbed out onto the walkway. His herald was a silver spider web radiating from a bundle of sticks wreathed in golden flames. Okay, and this is just me being super juvenile. uh, yeah, like I'm sure you can get at what I'm doing there. But Sticky took each step gingerly, testing it. Sticky took each step gingerly, testing it to see if it would hold his weight. She's solid. Feels like she can hold the whole platoon, Sticky called back. Gunny gave the thumbs up. If you had to say something nice about whales, at least they were built tough. When Gunny was on the sections of the Polybius that hadn't been tard-proofed, he felt like things would bust apart if he breathed on him. The thought stuck in Gunny as he watched Sticky doing all the checks of scout duty in double time. The thought stuck in Gunny as he watched Sticky doing all the scout routines in double time. What the hell was he? Why was it that Gunny felt more comfortable on this alien hulk than in a human ship? Right at this moment, with a 95% chance they would all die, he would rather be here than on the Polybius. Gunny had served on 4 different ships, the Polybius, the Moravini, the Escalier, and the Gant, each a different class with a different CO. The different class line can just be cut. Yeah, in fact, we can just take out the. So far, the Polybius was the best of them, but Gunny had. So far, the Polybius was the best of them, but Gunny had never felt welcome on any naval vessel. There was always that tinge of exasperation when the brass spoke with him, like it was such a chucking tribulation to have his unit on board. That was another chappy word that featured. That was another chappy word. His featured carpenter was always caught up in some jit. Gunny couldn't sympathize. He preferred the stories about the sand people wandering around, looking for their promised land and chucking anything that moved. Grapes and slings, milk and honey, That was something Gunny could get behind. Okay. Okay, so got to get to work. Yeah, thanks for your help. Some really good edits there. Yeah, difficult chapter to work through. And yeah, it really makes me feel hopeful when we're doing like this hard ass work on this thing and like where it's real effort. You know, you can feel the fucking brain burning here. It really makes me feel like we're gonna get a good story at the end of this because we're working so hard, or that will slightly transcend our limitations, even if we don't have a good story at the end of it. But I'm enjoying it so far, and that's maybe all that really matters. Real talk. All right, what do we got here? Um, yeah, let's take out. Sticky was waving his sampling rod around in a circular pat. Gunny shook the daydreams away. Something was bothering him, but he couldn't quite place it. Acid's good, Sticky announced. Immediately. Something was bugging him, but he couldn't quite place it. Acid's good, Sticky announced. All right, so what do I got here? Is this something I resolved? Um, they have like a slide they can pull down to expose a thin membrane for shouting. It's spring loaded, so they don't forget to pull it back up. I mean, that's a cool note, but there's obviously nowhere to put it here. And I don't know. Immediately, Gunny realized what was bothering him. Don't drop it, Gunny bellowed, but the rod was already in the air, carelessly discarded. The sampling rod plunged into the black fluid and it disappeared. Whoops. Sorry, Gunny, Sticky said, raising his hands in his apology. Raising the palms of his gauntlets in apology. Gunny held a fist to his temple in frustration. Should have belted him when I had the chance. There was nothing else to be done. Gunny made the whirling get on with it sign. Sticky turned around to head for the other end of the corridor. Sticky turned back towards the distant end of the corridor to continue scouting. Then he vanished. An arc of darkness shot across the walkway and swallowed Sticky and his light. Winchester's spool whirred to life. The line was playing out as Sticky was dragged below. "Sticky!" Gunny shouted, his voice bouncing uselessly off the mirrored sides of the tunnel. "Pull him back," Gunny ordered. The 4 Marines in the line squad were pulling hard, trying to reel Sticky in, but they were losing. Whatever was pulling Sticky in was stronger than the 4 of them put together. "Can't!" Lefty bleated, a frantic note in his voice. The line squad was getting pulled towards the breach. If they held on, it was going to pull them in. If they held on, they were going to get pulled in. "Platoon, grab on," Gunny shouted, rushing forward to grab Winchester. In moments, the entire platoon was mobbing Winchester, tugging him with all their might. The whole platoon was not enough. The mass of Marines was getting dragged towards the rent in the disc. "Pull, you piggers! Save Sticky!" Gunny roared. 1, 2, 3. Everyone, on 3. 1, 2, 3. As one, the platoon heaved on the line with all their strength. Together they halted the slide. They could feel momentum begin to shift in their direction. A red vignette was forming at the edge of Gunny's vision. He shut his eyes and bore down with everything he had. Ping! The line snapped and the whole unit flew backward, landing in a confused scrum. Gunny was on his feet first, drawing his pistol. Whatever got Sticky was strong. "Riflemen, lampsmen," Gunny shouted. The 4 riflemen took up firing positions at the breach with their shredders. 2 took a knee and 2 stood overhead on either side. Between them, Aziz the lampsman was searching the mirrored tunnel with his big beamer. There was nothing left of Sticky but a dark patch on the walkway, beaded with black droplets. For several moments the platoon was breathing heavy, ready for something monstrous to come roaring down the pipe at them, but there was nothing. "Seal it," Gunny ordered, his voice heavy. At once 2 Marines were at... At once 2 Marines were covering the breach with vac sheet and quick seal. Losing the unit's stickman was another entry in the thing. Losing the unit's stickman was another entry in the things not to do binder. Gunny's brow was furrowed. The calculations were getting dire. "Should have been me," Yakov said, his face twisted up with grief. "Sack up or it will be," Gunny said, pitiless. "Should have hit him. Now Sticky was gone." Gunny had a furious desire to order an attack. Just start hucking jet into the monk until whatever that thing was revealed itself and then burn it down. His palms itched for Benny. But ordering an attack would likely wipe the platoon. Gunny told himself if he couldn't find another way and the air was low, they could come back and fight. Member was hunched over the snapped line, taking a sample of the black fluid. "Bonzo, Member, come here, trunk up." The 3 Marines formed a triangle huddle, each trunking to his left so they could conference without shouting through their helmets. "I'm thinking we gotta retreat through the needle room," Gunny said, hating the idea even as he said it. "We're only 4 rooms in. I don't think that's enough, Gunny. We'll be reminded," Member said, grimacing. Rather be reminded than ruptured," Bonzo said, and Gunny chuffed in agreement. "We can try the other disc in the first room. Maybe find something in there. I figure we may lose 1 or 2 to the needles, but whatever's got Sticky could skull us all." "Agreed. Chucking thing almost dragged the whole platoon down. Surprised Winchy didn't give up the spool," Bonzo said. Yeah, said seems wrong there, but let's persist. "He's stubborn as bells. Okay, here's my problem with going back. We're going to get all fogged up if we go through the shaft again. It'll smeg up our visors. Can you fly black blind? Can you fly back if your visor's fouled? Nah, no. It was too tricky getting in. If I can't see, we all die. That would leave hoping Deuce can... Is there a chat I can't see on the restream? I don't know. I don't think anybody's chatted since 7:54, where Adjective Noun said, good luck on the rest of the chapter. So what do we see? Yeah, no, that showed up on the restream. So no, there's nobody chatting. It's totally fine. What do we got here? No, it's too tricky getting in. If I can't see, we all die. Think Deuce can fly us back? Gunny angled. Deuce was the backup pilot for the mission. Deuce was the backup pilot. He was sitting in the cockpit of the Rats right now, probably wishing he was with the unit. Gunny had been stuck in that hot seat before. It was agonizing to know the others were in the Whale, having fun, getting in fights, and doing jit that could easily get the whole works blown to bits, the Rats included. But somebody had to do it. Oh shit, we are indeed out here. "50-50 craters us trying to get us out of the Whale. It was a tight squeeze, Gunny. I should have left you on sentry then." Bonzo shrugged. There were a lot of things I should have done. Got an idea, Gunny, Member chimed in. Why don't we just stick some vac sheet to our helmets when we go through? Then we just peel it off on the other side. If it gets skeeted up, no problemo. Love that sentence. That's chucking genius, Member. Okay, let's backtrack. Maybe we'll get lucky and nobody gets speared. They detrunked and Gunny went for another look at the sealed-over entrance to the shaft. To the shaft full of tubes. The whole interior of the makeshift airlock was crusted with snowy residue. Muted blue light from the sparks still flickered through intermittently. Peel that open. Careful not to get the fog on your visor. Be ready to seal it back up if it's spitting fog, Gunny ordered Plinko, who was closest. Pinko's bushy eyebrows bobbed as he processed the order. Aye, aye, Gunny, he said. The vac sheet peeled away, but the buildup remained. The glassy bubble so thick it was nearly opaque. She's froze up, Gunny, Pinko complained. Crow it. Pinko laid into the bubble with his crowbar, but the strikes just bounced off. Tough jit. Hammerman. Gunny called. That's you, Heaves, he clarified when nothing happened. Oh, right. Saws, Gunny, I forgot. Heaves wound up and cracked the bubble as hard as he could, but his first swing did nothing, and the second one glanced off. But Heaves didn't relent. It took 15 strikes to crack the bubble, and then the next 3 shattered it into shards. A little huff of the plastic fog swirled around, frosting the hammer, but it wasn't the jet. More blue light flickered. Oh, you double pigger, Gunny groaned. The shaft looked like it had frozen over completely. The fog had hardened into a glassy material that felt completely solid when Gunny hammered a fist against it. He could still see the tubes. Half a meter in, he could see the points of 3 glass tubes, frozen like bugs in amber. Past that, it got too distorted to make anything out. Hit it, Heaths, Gunny ordered. 20 strikes later, Heath's face was plum red. He'd gotten nothing but a few crusty white scratches in the surface. It's tough, Gunny. Solid as a rock. Get a torch on it, Gunny said. Filthy was the burner. They all puckered as he sparked up, but there was no explosion. He tried everything in his arsenal. Acetylene, trigas, pure oxy. Nothing could do anything to the glassy material, but leave it. The torches only left a charred residue that wiped right off. This is some serious jit, Gunny said. He was going to order Member to take a sample, but the mission recorder was already hunched over it with a tag bag. If only they had some of that Vorpal wire. Okay, let's pop the other disc, Gunny said, feeling time beating down on them. He glanced at his clock and his dosimeter. Hit the other disc, he ordered Heaths, who was staring vacantly at the hammer in his hands. Bonzo, stand aside. Wait, Gunny. Wait, Gunny, Bonzo cautioned. She's hot. How hot? Gunny asked, already marching over. Too hot. No telling exactly. Stick had the, thermos meter. Gunny blinked. Was that what it was called? He set his gauntlet over the disc, then yanked it back and whipped it in the air. Hotter than they could take. Potentially there was a fire on the other side. Was it that hot before? Gunny asked. Nope, Plinko replied. He'd been the one who cased it. Chuck a duck. Might be a fire. No telling what's broke on this chucked-up whale. Gunny turned to face the unit. Gunny turned to face his unit. Gunny turned to face the platoon, starting to grin. He was going to get his fight after all. Marines, air check. 75 minutes, Gunny, Bonzo announced from behind him, eyeing the gauge on his tanks. All around, each Marine was reporting another. No one was below 70. Gunny was usually the lowest because he shouted more. His eyes fell on Sipper. No one had got to him yet. What's Sipper got? 60, Plinko announced, a dark look on his face. Frowning hard. Gunny, offering up my tanks now so they stretch further, Sipper said, sounding too chucking chipper as he offered to sacrifice himself. Denied. Boys, we're sealed off. Gotta go through that sewer. Try to find another way back to the rats. Whatever got sticky, we kill it or it kills us. Strap up. We're going in hot. Rifleman, at the 4 and van. SS. Yeah, I think he only has one S. SS, Yancey, Clance, and Gabo hoisted their shredders, itching to fight. All around the room, Marines were drawing their sidearms. Bonzo's were the flashiest. He had a pair of 13mm Schlack compensators. Lieutenant Genie had electroplated them and fire... Hold on, let me take a drink. I'm stumbling over everything. All around the room, Marines were drawing their sidearms. Bonzo's were the flashiest. He had a pair of 13mm Schlack compensators. Lieutenant Genie had electroplated them fire truck red and trimmed the accents in rose gold. Bonzo went akimbo, the right loaded with DU Arpen slugs, the left with Hayek's rounds. Wait, I wonder if he could just use plutonium. Uh, I wonder if you can have bullets that are just straight plutonium. Yeah, let's just call him. So if there's a later fight scene, we need to remember that we've changed these to plutonium. Okay, Bonzo win akimbo. His right pistol loaded with plutonium Arplen slugs, the left with Weasel Popper Hayek's rounds. Oh, I love that. Finally, Bonzo said, flashing a toothy smile. Smiling with all his teeth. Yeah, I like that a little bit better there. Shoutouts to the Schlack compensators, the pistol of choice for Space Marines. I think that's like almost 50, 13 millimeters is like what, 50 caliber. So he's got some deagles happening here. All right, cool. So I like a lot of work on that chapter. Man, we fought hard for this one there. So thank you guys for working through this relatively difficult periods of like pretty intense description. So what happens in this chapter? They lose their stickman. They realize that they're going to have to venture out into this crazy lake, and we have like a little bit of existential angst from Gunny. And in general, it's just I think like a solid chapter, lots of action, and the description is much better. And they're still trapped in this fucking whale. So we're at 86 of 121 pages. So we're more than 3/4 through this guy. And I think it's going to be maybe about 2 more days, maybe 3, depending on how rough the next chapter is. I like that he's just got plutonium bullets in there. That just sounds cooler to me than depleted uranium. Science fiction is so fun. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. All right. Well, I had a great time today. Thank you guys all. Stay safe out there. Stay as quarantined as you fucking feel is appropriate. and we'll have a finished story for you guys real soon. I am looking for somebody to do a cover of Send in the Clowns for the intro music for this. When we finish this guy, I'm going to record the audiobook this week. I'm also going to go on, I've got a bunch of Fiverr credits, so I'm going to try and find a Fiverr artist with my Fiverr credits to do the sketches for this. I bet Fiverr is just blowing up at the moment there. So I'm just going to have them design our chapter images there. So we'll try to get 13 of those. If I can do that for my existing Fiverr credits, that'll be rad. All right, so yeah, lots going on. We're going to have more editing streams all week. We're going to start the new chapters soon. And yeah, have a good day, y'all.